The mockery and the void in the vast expanse of the Andromeda Sector, where stars flickered like distant campfires and nebulae painted the cosmos in hues of violet and crimson. The Galactic Concordance held its annual fleet assembly. It was a spectacle of interstellar diplomacy, a gathering where species from across the galaxy showcased their might, forged alliances, and occasionally settled old scores through veiled threats and posturing. The Concordance, a loose federation of over 200 sentient races, prided itself on maintaining peace, or at least the illusion of it amid the chaos of cosmic expansion. This year, the assembly orbited the gas giant Zoroth Prime, a world of swirling storms and hidden mining colonies. Fleets from every corner of known space had converged. The sleek, crystalline vessels of the Alari, who communicated through light pulses, the hulking, bioengineered behemoths of the Krogan Collective, armored and living chitin, the ethereal, energy-based forms of the Vexari, whose ships phased in and out of reality like ghosts. And then there were the humans, newcomers to the galactic stage. Having only achieved faster-than-light travel a mere century ago, their fleet was modest, a dozen cruisers, a handful of destroyers, and a few support vessels, all clad in utilitarian gray alloy, lacking the flair of their elder counterparts. The 5 aliens who would soon become infamous in human lore were representatives of the most arrogant factions in the Concordance. They called themselves the Quintet of Supremacy, though most just referred to them as the Mockers. Leading them was Vexler, a towering Alari with iridescent scales that shifted colors to express disdain. Beside him slithered Krazak, a Krogan warlord whose mandibles clicked in perpetual amusement. Then there was Solara, a Vexari diplomat whose form shimmered like a living aurora, heard her voice a harmonic whisper that could shatter glass. Flanking them were the twins, Zorv and Zerv, insectoid ambassadors from the Hive Dominion, their compound eyes reflecting 1,000 judgments. They gathered in the observation dome of the Concordance's neutral station, a massive orbital platform that served as the hub for the assembly. From here, they could view the fleets arrayed in formation, a dazzling array of technology and power. The Mockers sipped on exotic nectars Vexler, preferring a luminescent elixir that matched his scales while commenting on each passing ship. "Look at the Alari Vanguard," Vexler said, his voice booming through the translator implants. "Perfection in motion. Our crystal drives harness the very essence of stars." Krazak grunted, his chitinous armor rattling. "Bah, your pretty lights are no match for Krogan resilience. We birth our ships from the womb of asteroids, unbreakable and eternal." Solara's form pulsed with laughter. "Eternal? Until a Vexari phase bomb unravels your molecules. True power is in the unseen, the intangible." Zorv and Zerv chittered in unison, their antennae waving. "Unity is strength. The Hive's swarms overwhelm all. One mind, infinite bodies." Their banter was light, a ritual of one-upmanship common among the elder races. But then the human fleet came into view. The ships were blocky, functional, without the elegant curves or glowing auras of the others. The lead vessel, the USS Endeavor, bore scars from recent skirmishes, pirate raids on the fringes of human space. Its weapons were visible but unremarkable: railguns, missile bays, laser turrets. No exotic matter manipulators, no psychic amplifiers. The Mockers paused, then erupted in laughter. "What is this?" Vexler sneered, his scales turning a mocking shade of dull gray. "A fleet of cargo haulers. Do the humans think this is a trade fair?" Krazak's mandibles clacked louder. "Look at those primitive engines. Ion thrusters. We abandoned those eons ago. They'd shatter under a single Krogan barrage." Solara's shimmer intensified, projecting holographic illusions of the human ships exploding in cartoonish fashion. "They call themselves Terrans? More like terrors to good taste. How did such barbarians even join the Concordance?" Zorv and Zerv buzzed excitedly. Their formation is sloppy. No hive mind coordination. One disruptor pulse, and they'd scatter like larvae. The mockery escalated. Vexler activated the station's comms array. broadcasting their commentary to the Assembly's open channel of tradition for critiques, though usually more diplomatic. Behold, the mighty human armada. Capable of what? Delivering mail across their tiny solar system? We, the elders, welcome you with open arms and pity. Laughter echoed from other delegations. The Alari fleet pulsed in synchronized amusement. The Krogan ships thrummed with bass vibrations. And even the stoic Vexery allowed a ripple of energy waves. The humans, monitoring from the Endeavor, remained silent. Captain Alina Vasquez, a seasoned officer with a scar across her cheek from the Mars uprising, clenched her fist, but said nothing. "Let them laugh," she muttered to her ex. Pride comes before the fall. Unbeknownst to the mockers, the humans had not come to impress with numbers or aesthetics. They had come to observe, to learn, to prepare. Whispers of an ancient threat, the Void Reapers, had been circulating. Legends spoke of biomechanical horrors that devoured entire systems, dormant for millennia, but stirring once more. The Concordance dismissed them as myths. But human intelligence gleaned from salvaged artifacts on Pluto's outer moons suggested otherwise as the assembly progressed. The mockers continued their jabs. During a simulated war game, where fleets demonstrated tactics, the human ships performed adequately, but without flair. They evaded simulated attacks with brute force maneuvers, relying on sheer acceleration rather than elegant dodges. Pathetic Krazak boomed. A Krogan youngling could outmaneuver that. But in the shadows of the Endeavor's bridge, engineers tinkered with something classified, Project Titan, a prototype battleship, the HMS Colossus, hidden in a fold of subspace, waiting for its moment. It was no ordinary ship. Forged in the shipyards of Titan, Saturn's moon, it incorporated reverse-engineered alien tech blended with human ingenuity, quantum shields, antimatter warheads, an AI core that learned from every engagement. The first part of the story unfolded over days, diplomatic banquets where the mockers toasted to human humility, private meetings where they plotted to marginalize Earth's influence, fearing the upstarts might disrupt trade routes, and all the while, human delegates smiled politely, absorbing every insult like sponges. Captain Vasquez met with her team in the war room. "They're underestimating us." "Good. When the Reapers come in, we'll be ready." Little did they know, the Reapers were already awakening. Deep in the Zoroth Nebula, sensors pinged anomalous readings. Shadows moved where no ship should be. The mockery reached its peak during the Grand Review, where each fleet paraded past the station. The human contingent passed last, to polite applause drowned by snickers. "5 aliens mock our fleet," Vasquez noted in her log. "Let history remember their names." As Part 1 drew to a close, alarms blared across the assembly. The Void Reapers had emerged, massive tentacled leviathans of metal and flesh, warping space with their arrival. Panic ensued. The Elder fleet scrambled, their elegant ships firing in disarray, and the mockers. Their laughter turned to silence. The awakening storm chaos erupted in the Andromeda Sector like a supernova's birth. The Void Reapers, long thought extinct or mythical, materialized from the nebula's depths in a fleet of nightmarish proportions. Their ships were abominations, colossal hulls pulsating with organic veins, eyes that glowed with malevolent intelligence, and tendrils that lashed out to ensnare prey. Each Reaper vessel was a world unto itself, capable of assimilating technology and biomass alike. They numbered in the dozens, dwarfing the assembled fleets. The Concordant station trembled as the first wave struck. Alari crystals shattered under psychic assaults. Krogan chitin cracked from corrosive acids. Vexery phases disrupted by entropy fields. The mockers, still in the observation dome, watched in horror as their own fleets faltered. "This cannot be," Vexler stammered, his scales paling to translucent white. "The Reapers are legends." Krazak roared, slamming a fist into the console. "Legends don't bleed our warriors. Mobilize the collective." Solara's form flickered erratically. "We must phase out, evade their grasp." Zorv and Zerv huddled, their chitters frantic. The hive calls for swarm defense, but we are too few. The open-comes channel crackled with pleas for aid. Elder races, once so superior, begged for coordination. But pride hindered unity. Each faction fought alone, their tactics clashing. Amid the turmoil, the human fleet held formation. Captain Vasquez's voice cut through the noise on a secure human channel. All ships' defensive posture. Protect the civilians. And signal Titan Command. Deploy the Colossus. Back on Earth, in the fortified bunkers beneath the Himalayas, Titan Command was a hive of activity. Admirals paced holographic displays. Analysts pored over data streams. The Colossus, humanity's ace in the hole, had been in development for decades. It wasn't just a ship. It was a testament to human resilience. Measuring over 5 kilometers long, it boasted layers of adaptive armor nanites that repaired damage in real time. Its weapons array included singularity cannons that bent gravity, plasma lances harvested from solar flares, and drone swarms programmed with evolutionary algorithms. But what set it apart was the human element, a crew of 10,000, each trained in multiple disciplines, bonded by a shared history of survival. From the ashes of World War III, humanity had learned unity the hard way. No hive mind, no crystalline perfection, just grit, innovation, and refusal to yield. As the battle raged, the mockers evacuated to their respective flagships. Vexler's crystal cruiser danced through the fray, firing prismatic beams that glanced off reaper hides. Krezok's behemoth charged headlong, ramming a tendril but losing a section of hull. Solara's vessel phased in and out, striking from nowhere but exhausting its energy cores. The twins' hive ship unleashed insectoid fighters, only to see them consumed. The Reapers advanced relentlessly, their collective mind adapting. They learned from each hit, evolving shields against Ilari light, counters to Krogan charges. Humans, meanwhile, played support. Their cruisers drew fire, shielding fleeing transports. Destroyers launched decoys, buying time. Losses mounted a frigate vaporized, another boarded by Reaper spawn, but they held. In the midst of it, Vasquez received a transmission from Vexler. "Human, your fleet is fodder. Retreat while you can. We elders will handle this," she smirked. "With respect, Ambassador, we've got this." The mockery from days prior fueled human resolve. Engineers on the Endeavor jury-rigged weapons, boosting output by 200%. Pilots executed maneuvers born from video games and historical battles, looping through debris fields, using Zorith's gravity for slingshots. As Part 2 unfolded, the story delved deeper into backstories. Vexler's arrogance stemmed from a species that had never known defeat, their empire spanning millennia. Krezok was a veteran of 100 wars, scarred but unbroken. Solara, immortal in energy form, viewed corporeals as transient. The twins represented a hive billions strong, where individuality was anathema. Humans, conversely, were portrayed as underdogs. Flashbacks to Earth's history, the discovery of FTL on a shoestring budget. First contact marred by suspicion. The drive to prove themselves not through conquest but contribution. The battle intensified. A Reaper flagship, the Devourer, targeted the station. Elder fleets rallied, but coordination failed. A joint assault crumbled when Vexery phased out prematurely, leaving Krogans exposed. That's when the subspace rift opened. A tear in reality from which emerged the Colossus. Its silhouette eclipsed stars angular, imposing, with engines roaring like thunder gods. The mockers from their bridges gaped. "Is that?" Solara whispered. The Colossus announced itself with a broadside. Singularity rounds imploded Reaper tendrils, pulling them into black holes. Plasma lances carved through hulls. Drones swarmed, adapting mid-flight to Reaper countermeasures. Humans cheered. "That's our battleship." The Reapers recoiled, their hive mind registering shock. For the first time in eons, they faced something unpredictable: human creativity. But the fight was far from over. The Devourer counterattacked, unleashing a wave of spawn that boarded the Colossus. Human Marines in powered exosuits fought deck by deck, turning corridors into kill zones. Vasquez transferred to the battleship, coordinating from its command center. "Push them back!" For Earth, The mockers, witnessing the tide turn, swallowed their pride. Vexler hailed the Colossus. Human vessel. We request alliance, Vasquez's response. About time, the triumph of humanity. The Asponius climax roared across the void like a cosmic symphony of destruction. The HMS Colossus, humanity's magnum opus, stood as a bulwark against the Reaper onslaught. Its decks hummed with activity, engineers patching breaches with molten alloy, medics tending wounds with nanite injectors, gunners unleashing volleys that lit the darkness, the mockers. Now allies of necessity integrated their forces. Vexler's crystal ships provided covering fire, their beams amplified by human targeting data. Krazak's behemoths formed a phalanx, ramming Reapers while Colossus's drones repaired their chitin. Solara's phase tech cloaked human squads for boarding actions. Zorv and Zerv's swarms merged with human AI drones, creating hybrid armies that overwhelmed Reaper defenses. But the true turning point was human adaptability. When Reapers evolved acid shields, humans switched to kinetic slugs' old school bullets, accelerated to relativistic speeds. When psychic waves disrupted, Cum's crews fell back to hand signals and Morse code. Relics from Earth's past, flashbacks enriched the narrative. Vasquez's childhood on a war-torn colony. Forging her iron will, the Colossus's lead designer, Dr. Aidan Croft, inspired by ancient myths of titans battling gods. Crew stories of loss and hope, binding them tighter than any hive mind. The Devourer, the Reaper Nexus, loomed largest. A monstrosity the size of a moon, its core pulsed with stolen life forces. The Allied fleet assaulted it, but only the Colossus could penetrate its heart. Boarding parties launched. Vasquez led one, suited in armor etched with human symbols, eagles, stars, defiant fists. Alongside her, a mix of humans and aliens. Vexler, humbled, fought with crystalline blades. Krazak smashed through bulkheads. Solara disrupted Reaper nodes. The twins coordinated micro-dash swarms. Inside, horrors awaited. Corridors of flesh, guardians of twisted amalgamations. Battles were visceral lasers, searing, claws rending, blood and ichor mixing at the core. They faced the Overmind, a pulsating brain entity. It assailed their minds with visions of despair. Galaxies consumed, species extinct, but humans resisted. We've faced worse, Vasquez growled. Nuclear winters, pandemics, ourselves. With a final push, they planted Charge's antimatter cores, synced to the Colossus's cannons. Evacuating amid collapsing structures, they escaped as the Devourer imploded, its death scream echoing through subspace. The Reaper fleet fragmented. Remnants fleeing into the nebula, victory secured, the assembly reformed. The mockers, survivors all, approached Vasquez on the rebuilt station. Misjudged, Vexler admitted, scales humbled to neutral tones. Krazak bowed. Your battleship? A worthy foe, better ally. Solara shimmered gratitude. Humans teach us flexibility. Zorv and Zerv chittered respect. One hive, many minds. Vasquez nodded. We all learn. That's humanity's strength. The story closed with reflections. The concordance strengthened, humans elevated. Whispers of more threats, but now united.